everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today we're taking a look at a match that was sent on over on the Discord. It's where I get a lot of my matches, by the way. In case you're curious and you want to know how I pick my matches, a lot of them are over on my Discord, so feel free to join with the link down below in the description section. But anyways, this was a match that had Legion enabled. Yeah, so if you're not aware, I'm a big fan of Legion, and I think as we eke closer and closer to Legion becoming a more and more complete system, I think it's awesome to see that more and more people are enabling it when they're playing the game. This match was also hosted by another content creator, another bar content creator who goes by the name of Jawsmunch. So there you go, you can see Jawsmunch playing as a Legion commander, putting down one of those spinny Legion solar collector metal extractor shenanigans. It extracts a little less metal, but it produces a little bit of energy, which is pretty awesome. But the blue team leader today, going to be none other than Blossom, coming in at 43 true skill, and my goodness, setting quite a disparity between the, quite a discrepancy between the teams here, as 43 true skill and silver chevrons is going to be a massive boost over the red team leader, who goes by the name of BCTV. Is this Barcast? Oh, this must be Barcast. Barcast TV. Yeah, that makes sense. If it's not, I apologize, but I'm gonna assume this is Barcast TV right here. The red team leader who spawned right here with Jet 2803, and team worked out a little laboratory. Very nicely done. So we're playing on Onyx Cauldron today. Typically a 1v1 map. Sometimes you can do 2v2, maybe 3v3. I have never seen it done 5 versus 5 before though, so this is cool to see. We have some very forward, very aggressive early laboratories here. As you can see, Jawsmunch going for one of those, and you can see Coalition moving forward here as well. With this many commanders on the map, it does mean you can contest things a little more securely. You can also go for some cheesy strategies. So, for instance, we have Tim Adams in the back, or Time Adams. No, we'll go with Tim Adams. That's right. I think we figured this one out. Tim Adams in the back here is the orange commander, going to be putting up essentially just raw economy, which is very interesting. Yeah, okay. So you can see Tim Adams sharing a bunch of energy right now to Snorkelwhack, the hot pink commander, in order to get these overcharged metal extractors up and online. This is an interesting strategy. This is a whole nother layer to tech rushing, because with Legion, you don't actually have to go to T2 to upgrade your metal economy. You just have to make sure that you have enough energy production. You can go for these these overcharged metal extractors. They produce double the metal of the regular metal extractor, but they consume quite a lot of energy. You go through these weird stages where suddenly you find yourself with tremendous overflows of energy because your metal extractors produce them, and then you find yourself in crazy deficits because they consume a tremendous amount of energy, and then it calms back down when you get to the advanced metal extractors because once again, they don't consume nearly as much as the overcharged ones. Very interesting indeed. There's some beautiful new life that the overcharged mechs breathes into this game, and I'm super excited about that. Tim Adams setting up some anti-air defenses. Have we seen any airplanes or something? No? Okay, just being a little bit cautious here. Well, caution, definitely well warranted. A couple early bombers or early gunships or anything like that could certainly be a problem. Barcast TV moving forward right here. We already had a Resbot eating up a bunch of the crystals over here on this side. Coalition setting up some metal extractors here as well. I think we need a couple more LLTs. We do have a little forward base over here setting up LLTs, which is cool. Beamer turret's also very powerful as well, but when you're going up against the commander, LLTs work just fine because commanders do take a little bit of extra damage from those light laser towers. Goblin Gundams marching forward right here. Man, I love the unit models on these. Aren't those just the most adorable little thing? Firing away with their little twin machine guns. I think they're just plain beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. I think Legion has such a beautiful little aesthetic going on to them. I think they're going to be a tremendous hit on release. Elite Coalition finding themselves in a little bit of an LLT duel here with Barcast. Not the biggest problem, but certainly going to need some sort of stalemate breaker. Barcast calls for Rockos, aka Aggravators, aka Rocketeers. Something to shoot down these LLTs here. We'll have to see what Elite Coalition decides to go ahead and go for. We do have Rocketeers queued up for the Purple Commander, so that's always lovely. We have Jawsmunch going for, trying to rebuild the economy mostly. Yeah, that run by did quite a lot of damage. We're resurrecting right now, which is hurting the energy economy quite severely here, but also one metal extractor, not necessarily enough to fund an entire economy here. I like this backline play right here, to go for these overcharged mechs right off the gate. Allows you to boost the economy on a very low, well, what is, for 5 versus 5, a very low metal map. On a 1v1, it's fairly abundant, but on and a 5 versus 5, yeah, you can imagine. Splitting a 1v1 economy 5 different ways is going to be a little bit tricky. Beamer turret coming up right here in the middle of the map for Jinxer. Just saw Jinxer in that 1v1 with Nebuchadnezzar, the Fight Nights, the bar Fight Nights. I actually just got finished watching those. As of recording this, I just got finished watching the second to the bar Fight Nights Electric Boogaloo, number 2 Electric Boogaloo, the second one that's been put on. It looked like a blast. I was just hanging out in the live stream, watching some games, having some fun. Definitely very, very cool. Those are going to be going on every Saturday from now on, so definitely would recommend checking that out. In case you're interested in a Swiss-style tournament, what that means is that you play a game every round, and so there are some rounds where you're going to play some people that are quite a bit better than you. You might lose those rounds, and that's okay, because that means that in the next round, you'll play people that might be a little bit more your skill. I like it for that reason. I think it offers people more opportunities to play the game and have fun, rather than just, you know, the pro level shenanigans where they just kill you. Jinxer's setting up some spy cams over here. Okay. It isn't scouted, actually. All right. Oh, maybe. No, just barely didn't see the camera. Ooh, centaurs are deadly. Oh, I accidentally digging down our own spy cam there. Easy come, easy go, I suppose, but Jinxer does live just barely by the skin on that commander's teeth. 14% HP. Is there any skin under that mask? Look how bruised up this commander is, by the way. Just battered. Whether there's skin or not under that commander's faceplate, the fact of the matter is Jinxer is down to 14% HP and not feeling great on the front lines here. Aggravators up for corral the troops. Okay, corral the troops. The Seafoam Green commander firing away with those aggravators, eventually whittling down these LLTs. It's the reason why the LLT investment is so fleeting. The investment can be so fickle because suddenly you find yourself with basically all of these units that you easily break down LLTs with, and suddenly they just don't get any value whatsoever. Barcast with not even a forward bot lab, but a front lines bot lab, the most forward bot lab I think I've ever seen. Gonna be pumping out some units, and I guess it's necessary here. Yeah, I mean, with no other option, you got to get something done. And we do have a couple metal extractors up and running here for the red commander, so at the very least that's quite nice. But this little run by did shut down a third of the economy for the red commander. Tan force is now going to be forced to retreat for defense. These pawns are almost to the base already, though. Rocketeer is not going to be ideal for base defense, obviously. E-converter's in a whole lot of trouble. Nope. If we micro, we do not. All right. All said and done, I feel like that damage wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. I think probably focusing on the wind turbines, focusing on the E-converters, focusing on the metal extractors, probably could have popped all this. I mean, all this would have chain reacted and destroyed everything over here if we did a little bit more micro right there, but missed that opportunity, and so indeed, the defense will look quite solid here for Jet 2803. Resbot actually picking up some LLTs over here. That's quite funny. Going to be patching all that back up and running. Barcast using those Rocketeers with some thugs in the front here in order to continue pushing the line. 1, 2, 3 Rocketeers fall right here for the purple commander. And that means that suddenly we're in a position where Elite Coalition has to be very careful about the unit choices that we make. Reclaim has to be on top. Res has to be on top. Everything has to be top-notch if we want to get back into this. Barcast very good at that individual unit micro. Those 1v1 skills transitioning very directly into managing an army that's very difficult to micro. Rocketeers are difficult to micro because in a strange turn of events, they are over-microable. If you keep them turning and moving and dancing all around all over the place too much, they can actually stall out a lot of their APM, or a lot of their DPS, pardon me, just by virtue of them trying to realign their rocketry before firing. It means you can actually put yourself in a weird situation where more Rocketeers actually ends up being less efficient than less Rocketeers. I've talked about that before. Big push on the southern side. Grunt's trying to get aggressive over here. I think we just need to start whittling these LLTs down again with the Rocketeers. We do have a couple of Ballista, though, the medium rocket bot, which are super cool. Love their heavy rocket launcher on top of their big chicken frame. Marching around, firing their massive ballistic missiles. Definitely one of the most powerful units in the Legion lineup. Their heavy missiles hit like trucks, and their high HP pool makes them quite resilient against other rocket bots as well. At a steep cost of 160 compared to, for instance, the Aggravator's 110, so obviously you pay a steep premium, but For what it's worth, you get a magnificent unit. Strider's already out and running right now. Hadn't noticed the T2 transition, but there you go. We do have T2 units coming out of Snorkel Wax facility, pardon me. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've gone into those T3 or those T1.5 metal extractors, and now we're going to be going into a little bit of a Strider rush here. They've made it across the map. They've almost made it across the map. There we go. Twin Guard's going to be set up as the defense for today. I don't think those are going to do much against Striders. Yeah, Striders more than happy to just run on by a couple of Twin Guards. I think a Scorpion turret might have been a little bit better, but maybe even then not tremendous. E-converters pop though, and they do take down some of those Striders. At the end of the day, all this is saved, but my goodness. Blossom going for the for the advanced fusion reactor. Can we really afford it? We only have 146 energy production. Well, less now that a bunch of it exploded right there, of course, but definitely very low on energy production. I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be difficult to get this APHIS up and running. Yeah, there we go. We start up wind turbines immediately. Look at that micro. Look at that professional wind turbine micro right there. Setting up a field of wind turbines in seconds. Very, very nicely done. Wow, that was quick, huh? Splitting up all the build power between a bunch of wind turbines, and just like that, Blossom is now back up to 400 energy per second. Well, I'll be. That was an impressive little bit of economic micro right there, if I've ever seen it. We're throwing the units in. I don't think that was the right move, though. Yeah, Ballista AoE is quite impactful. You take a look here, you can see it actually is a substantial amount of AoE on well, for a rocket bot, it's quite impressive. We have a napalm launcher as well, the napalm spewer, the Belcher, that's what those are called, firing away right now and slowly whittling down the units. Napalm's such a strange mechanic in this game. It's a siege tool that doesn't do big upfront damage. It is a threatening tool. Useful for convincing the enemy that they shouldn't stand in one place or another. Maybe it's an area denial tool, similar to the way that the Tremor is sort of used. Yeah, I wonder if that's the right way to think about it, is as an area of denial tool. Coalition in a lot of trouble right here. The thug count has reached tremendous numbers right now for the Red Commander. Purple Commander having a hard time keeping up with all that. Mace is streaming out of the labs right now, but it's just more stuff beats less stuff. It's that age-old RTS conundrum. And right now, there's just no way for the Purple Commander to trade efficiently enough. We need 20 resbots behind all this, or some construction turrets, or anything to try and patch all these units up and reclaim a bunch of the wrecks here, and we just don't have it. Barcast TV feeling very comfortable at this point, must be. Just comfortable reclaiming the units, marching forward slowly, using the overwhelming firepower, and eventually clawing into a decent enough army that we can continue pushing here. Big tick run by, okay. Not bad. Always happy to see the ticks getting value into the late game here. Got to be careful about those explosive buildings. Those will shut down your tick ball quicker than any unit can. There we go. Wonderful. Hey, a little snipe on the air lab right there from a bunch of ticks. That's just great. It's rare that we see the ticks get value, too much value into the late game, but oftentimes, if they get value, they get immense value. That's exactly what we're seeing right here. Shuriken dive. Ooh, shut down immediately by a couple of thistles right here. Beautiful anti-air connections. Obliterating those fiends, or pardon me, obliterating those Shuriken before they have any chance to paralyze anything even worth it over here on this side. Belcher's obviously the premier target, but we don't really have anything to jump on top of them. APHIS nearly complete. 1330-ish, 1340-ish APHIS. Not bad. Not bad. Greedy, of course, and almost died to that little run by over there, but now that we've got the APHIS up and running, it is going to be a huge energy production for the team. You can see immediately shooting the energy reserves up for the blue team like crazy. Everybody on the blue team is going to be having tremendous energy at this point. Basically everybody full. Coalition now forced to use the commander as a threat. The threat of imminent comm bomb. Definitely a valid one. But it is the last stand here. It's a desperate last throw to try and do something with nothing. Thug's having a hard time. There we go. We will commit to the bomb. Boom goes the commander. Very nicely done. Taking out a huge portion of that army right here. Is it going to be enough, though, with essentially no way of keeping up with production at this point? Build turrets coming up and online. Constructors working hard. Would love to see this geothermal claim, by the way. Barcast probably waiting until feeling a little bit more comfortable in order to do so. Shuriken, yeah. They find a little bit of value here. There's a lot of these units can technically fire up, but not very efficiently. But this southern side is well controlled at this point by Space Doge Man. You know what? This map does work really lovely for a 5 versus 5 because it forces some players to be really aggressive out on the map just to try and make an economy, essentially. Yeah, I like that quite a lot. Instigating fights. That's what we're all about here at the Brightworks. Instigating fights. Massive ball of ballista right here. 2,400 metal worth of ballista. Impressive to say the very least. Jaws Bunch firing away with that D-gun, trying to threaten back any of these units. That is a Legion Commander with the D-gun, by the way. Legion Commander with... Oh my goodness. Beautiful connection from the Arbiters. From left field, those missiles collide with that commander and obliterate it. I didn't even expect it, didn't even see it. All I heard was the missiles launching, and that commander probably suspected the same thing. Very rare that you get a chance to kill a commander with Arbiters, but there you go. When it happens hard. 4 Arbiters immediately devastating that commander, leaving a wreckage on the battlefield ripe for the reclamation. Ballista now forced off their high ground here. Strider, the perfect counter to the Ballista, essentially just shutting them down with speed and maneuverability. Barcast well in control of this area over here, by the way, and going to be happily reclaiming this entire base from the purple commander, who is in full retreat at this point. We do have some constructors, so maybe we could rebuild some static defenses or something, but it's looking pretty dire over there for the time being for the red, or pardon me, for the blue team. Actually, the red team closing in right now, it does feel like. So we've got this APHIS, and we've got all the E production, we've got all the metal production. In the end, what did it get you? Not much. All the metal extractors making up all the difference. In fact, more than the difference here, is it's about a 30 metal difference between the red and the blue team, and in the red team's favor. Mass Shuriken being spammed out right here and sent over to try and deal with these tanks and bots and all the rest of it. Radar jammer bot paralyzed here as well, which means any artillery pieces are going to be able to fire away a little more efficiently right now. Man, Shuriken are good, huh? Mass Shuriken, extremely, extremely good. So effective at making these fights that otherwise should never be efficient into a one-sided stomp. Mass Aggravator, there you go, firing away. Shuriken, obviously enabling those Aggravator to the highest degree, essentially turning mobile units into static units. And now we have some sumos rolling out. In fact, we have a whole bunch of stuff rolling out. We're about to start a mass fabrication right here. Big old Sheldon ball starting to come up and online. The purple players stalled as long as they could. Hopefully this T2 transition can eventually pay off. The blue team leader needs to get in the fight immediately. Twitcher's coming up right here. I wonder if we're going to be going for... Oh, okay, some reclaim. I wonder if we were going to go for landmines. Landmines, another extremely efficient alternative for space defense, denying area. Arbiters continuing to work away at this base over here, by the way, for Josmunch, who is without constructor at this point. Down to their last wind turbines. LLTs. Oh no, we do have a single constructor in retreat. There we go. Trying desperately to flee. Barcast. Lingering in the water over here, causing problems. We do have a beamer turret and 2 LLTs. Should be enough to thwart that commander from moving forward. LLTs are extremely damaging to commanders, and then of course the beamer turret is just great in general. We do have some landmines that were set up over here. Medium landmines, no doubt set up by a Twitcher over on this side. Anti-air defenses, we have some bombardiers, the grenade launcher defenses as well, firing away. All signs are pointing towards the red team taking an overwhelming advantage here. Oh, look at that. A constructor was shared over to Josmunch. Isn't that nice? We have a couple wind turbines and all that handed over too. We also still have a couple of these ballista firing away wherever they can. Funny enough. Sheldon Ball has almost instantaneously become a menace, though. Sheldon Ball getting to that point where it doesn't really matter what you throw at it. They can just melt it down in a couple of volleys. One of the problems that some other units have that Sheldon tend to avoid is that they can fire well through each other, well past each other, because they fire from a barrel that's kind of sticking up in the air there, you can see. Basically what it means is that they The only thing that has to be clear is the very end of that barrel, the little blue part of that barrel. And it means that they can ball up really, really tightly and still be extremely effective. Need the sumos in the front to deny any lighter units from going forward. Arbiter's trying to fire away here, deny any advancement as well. We just have the wall of flames over here as the Belchers are firing away. Thou shalt not pass. There we go. Belcher's just spewing lava all over the floor over here to make sure that nobody gets in. Sumo has been having a great time moving into the backline here. By the way, look at these fighters. Totally look like the starfighters. The Jedi starfighters. Anyway. Sumo having a great time. Killing some advanced metal extractors. It's great. Ruining the economy right here of the red team. Sheldon have relocated over here to destroy the wall of fire spitters. Very nicely done. Ooh, big run by over here as well. I imagine the red commander must have gone down somewhere along the lines. I don't see the wreckage, but it must have happened. There it is. Yep. Barcast lost the commander. The fiends, the grunts, everything jumping on top of it. Wasn't quite ready for that mass T2 transition. My goodness. Don't tell me Blossom's actually doing it. Barcast actually leaves the game at this point. Fiends jumping on top of this very squishy T1 army. Yeah, ballistas, maces, and arbiters. Rocketeers too. Not going to stand up well against the hot fire, super hot fire of the fiends blasting away in their faces. That pyrotechnic maniac of a unit. My goodness. The Aphis rush really did it. Immediately rocketing up to T3 economy and just spamming the T2 units out as fast as humanly possible. We do have a killer economy up in the back here. We also have a T3 gantry, so we are going to go for a Makata here. I would love to see a Carries come out as well. The Carries got a little bit of a reskin, and they look awesome now. Very, very excited to see what the Carries, or what the other T3 units that we're going to come up with for Legion are. Right now, they've still got a couple of Cortex units, but I'm sure they're going to get their own whole slew of T3 units as well. Bombardier's having a hard time keeping up with everything. Good single target damage, similar to a Scorpion, I guess you could say, but with a little more AoE. Somewhere between a Scorpion and a Pitbull. The Fiends have destroyed everything. My goodness. The Sumo sent around the map as well. Essentially unkillable, at least by these LLTs and whatnot. Oh, they're unpowered too, so there's no energy to stop this. Sumo just having a blast. Tearing down any of the static defense that it can. Hot Pink Commander falls right here to the Sheldon Ball. Mukade is out on the field now. Is the Mukade going to be enough, though? The Mukade has double rocket launchers, double railguns, double miniguns, a million legs. And I still don't know if it's going to be enough. Catapult out here as well. I think the Carries is the way to go. The Carries is your anti-spam weapon of choice. Grunts find the E-converters though. Boom go the E-converters as well as some of the build power right there. The Aphis now open and exposed. Grunts at the very least will get taken care of, but my goodness, losing all that E-conversion does mean that the metal economy for the red team starts to take a plummet. The blue team has been behind this entire game. This is unbelievable. With an overwhelming advantage the entire game, the red team was never able to kill the blue team about it. And now we've just got more and more Fiends running into the backlines, doing tons and tons of damage. Sheldon firing away wherever they can as well. I will say, to the Makade's credit, quite a tanky unit, able to fire and fight for quite a long while without really having any issues, which is quite cool. Seems like a good skirmishing unit. It's an assault mech. It's labeled as an assault mech, so should be comparable to a Razorback. I'm not sure if that's true. Cost for cost, it is quite a bit more expensive than a Razorback, actually. Yeah, Razorback's, I think, about 3,700 metal, I want to say, versus the Makade's 5,000. You do get quite a lot of different options out of it, though. The railguns, the rockets, the miniguns, all that included and more. Oh, Bomber's taking a sneaky path around the side. There they go, deploying their payload directly onto the Aphis. They know exactly what they're going for. Manticore is up and running, and it's going to start trying to blow all this to smithereens. Bomber's trying to take down this very, very precious eco center. 30%, 20%, 16%. Bomber's forced into a retreat now. Is there enough bombers to finish the mission? Oh, maybe. 17. Nope. Manticore OP. Not really. Manticore's fairly underwhelming. Oh, 13%? It is so close. 9% HP left on that before the final bomber falls. My goodness, if we had 2 or 3 more bombers, I think we probably would have won that. That would have been the difference between blowing up that Aphis and not, is just a couple of bombers. The question at this point is, will the T3 be a big enough power swap to bring the red team back into this? Space Dogeman in a little bit of trouble here. Sheldon having a wonderful time melting away these medium tanks, but just shelling away at them from a distance. Very frustrating to play against the Sheldon ball because they can almost always infinitely kite you, and it just feels like your army is losing to nothing. Advanced fusion reactor being rebuilt here. Don't mind that. More Makates coming out of the lab. I do love the design of the Makate. I think it's not all-terrain, which is a little bit strange. Most of the spider-like insects are all all-terrain, and that one isn't, which is a... I'm not sure if that's a design decision or a bug. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but maybe somebody in the comment section can answer that. We do tend to have the Legion developers hanging out every once in a while, so maybe somebody can give some clarification on that point. Medium tanks are dead. Space Dogeman on the verge of defeat here. Sheldon just having a wonderful time right now. We had sumos coming out for the longest time. Yeah, okay, we're going to invest into another Aphis here. The blue commander just going to prioritize getting another Aphis up and running and making sure that it's being used to produce some high-quality units. Sumos in front to create the wall for the Sheldon. Very nicely done. This is the Cortex equivalent to Welder and Hound. Sumo and Sheldon. Bombardier turret firing away wherever it can. Fires a 3-round burst of grenades. And to its credit, it does make it quite a bit more viable against smaller but still beefy targets like the Sumo. Probably the best use case here because you can fire 3 different bursts, and if one of the grenades kills the unit, then you can always, of course, just go ahead and fire in a different direction. Not bad whatsoever. Sheldon, though, basically perfectly catered towards shutting down static defense like that. Catapults and Bukates handed over right here to Snorkel X so that we can micro them properly. Ah, Cataphract's going to be pumped out here. Okay, interesting. These are regular Cataphracts as far as I'm aware, not the Turbo Laser variant. But I do like the Cataphract play. Yeah, we've got this big body of water right here. That must be the move. We're looking to send the Cataphracts around. You know what? We don't really have an answer to the units moving in the right-hand side here. Economies are virtually neck and neck right now with the Mukates and the Catapult moving forward over here on the right-hand side. These are going to be a huge problem for the blue team to deal with. We need something efficient to shut all this down. You know what's an efficient option? Shuriken. Maybe pumping out 10 or 20 Shuriken to shut all this down wouldn't be the worst idea. At the very least, paralyze it so that smaller, weaker, fragile trash units can shut this down. Because right now, these Mukade are on a tear. Catapult firing directly into the base over here. Rampant destruction. Beautifully done right there. Man, Catapult's probably some of the best looking units in the game. Most cinematographic. Sheldon Ball significantly diminished at this point. Cataphracts marching across as well, firing their regular sustained laser beam. The only sustained laser beam in the Cortex lineup, if I'm not mistaken. Shiva now marching out of the lab. This was a late investment into T3 right here for Blossom, but getting the Shiva on the lab, or out of the lab, does mean that there's some sort of an answer over here to the Makade. How does the Shiva versus Makade matchup look? Well, I guess we're gonna find out. Underwhelming as usual with the Shiva, but at the very least it's a better answer than the T1 units. for 5,500 going up against 1,500. Whoa, Cataphracts. Great, though, for bursting down those T3. I will say to their credit, those T3 units melt under the heavy laser beam of those Cataphracts. Essentially the tachyon of the seas, of the skies. It's the pulsar. It's the Cortex Starlight is what it is. Yeah, the Cortex Starlight. Ooh, Bukate's so close right here, but that catapult firing into the back line. Oh no. Aphis in a whole lot of trouble right now. The blue leader resigns out of the match right here. Seafoam Green is gone as well. Jinxer and Jawsmunch, the only two left standing. Quite an exclamation. Wow, and just like that, the red team manages to bring it back. I thought for sure that T2 transition, those mass T2 balls all over the place, the Fiends running rampant throughout the economies right here of the red team, the Sheldon ball crushing all the static defense everywhere else. I thought for sure the blue team was on their way for a comeback, but the red team refortified themselves, invested into T3, got it across the map, and put it in the enemy's backline, meaning that they ended up capturing victory in today's match at Beyond All Reason. What a good back and forth right there. Beautifully played by both teams. An absolute treat. Let me know how you feel about Legion. I know I'm excited, and I'm sure you know that too, but I'm always happy to hear what you guys have to say. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason.